Hello, friends. We are looking at the epistle or the letter of Apostle Paul to Titus, and we are again in chapter 2, verses 11 to 14, taking another look at these four fundamental verses. For the grace of God that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men, teaching us that, denying ungodliness and worldly lusts, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world, looking for that blessed hope and the glorious appearing of the great God and our Saviour Jesus Christ, who gave himself for us, that he might redeem us from all iniquity, and purify unto himself a peculiar people, zealous of good works. Praise be to God for reading of his word. I'm looking at verse 12, where we are commanded, directed, to deny ungodliness and worldly lusts. There is evil inside, there is evil outside. We are tempted to sin. We are tested, tempted. But also that we are to live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world. And there is a world after this present world. However, looking at the verse here, to live soberly, righteously, and godly, this reminds me of three kinds of levels that are mentioned in the Bible. There's knowledge, there's wisdom, and then there is understanding. Three levels of awareness, three levels of knowing how to be, what to do, what to be like, how to be like. So, to live soberly, that would be knowledge. We need to know certain things, and then based on what we know, we can decide and live soberly. We can also live righteously. So that's now wisdom, how to live righteously. And in a sense, it would be living in terms of how we relate to fellow man, fellow people, other people, in the eyes of God, but also godly, which is understanding. How is this wisdom applied in direction of God? This is interesting that we also see something similar in Romans chapter 12, verse 2 actually, that we are not to be conformed to this world, that we are to be transformed by renewing of our mind, that we may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So I can actually connect this good will of God to be living soberly. We are expected. There's no particular reward for doing what is expected. There's a discipline or punishment for doing what is wrong, but for just doing something good that we are expected to do anyway, there's no particular reward for that. That's an expectation. We also have the second one, which is acceptable. So it's basically hitting the target, not in the center. It's not a bullseye, but yeah, we hit the target, and this is how to live righteously. But the bullseye, the center of the target, what we should aim for is the perfect will of God, which is here in verse 12, for us to live godly. And the way it is described in these verses, to do that, to be in that area, we need to be denying ungodliness and worldly lusts. We need to remember that God, through Jesus Christ, has intervened in such a way in our lives that now we have the grace of God that brings salvation. This grace has appeared to all men. What a great thing! Too great for us to understand this extent of love.